Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Expand Love Show. Today we have an amazing guest from the YouTube channel called Eva Loves Raw. She has been raw vegan for around 5 years now. I did the interview at 5:30 in the morning. Because of the time difference, I really wanted to bring to you guys her experience, and this is the only time that we could find, and that's why the setting is not so awesome in the interview. Pardon me for that, the network is fluctuating, but you can hear the audio really well, so do enjoy the interview. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe to both our channels and give it a thumbs up. I love you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Expand Love Show. Today, I'm coming again from my car since we have this morning early in the day here in India. And we have an amazing guest whom I've been trying to get for a long time. She has been high raw vegan for 7 years now and raw vegan for 5 years. She's very inspiring for me because of her energy, the videos she makes. Welcome, Eva, to the show. Would you like to give a brief introduction of yourself for our audience?
Hi, Kartika. Nice to meet you. I hadn't met you before. So, hi, I'm very happy to be here with you. I love your enthusiasm and your kindness. It just shows. I love the name of your channel. So I'm very happy to be here with you. I have been fully raw for 5 years, and prior to that, I was high raw for 2, so total 7 years. I had been sick, and I had been having some hormonal issues, and I had been just aging rapidly, and I was a bit of a mess. So I decided to go high raw. It didn't really work out for me that well because I wasn't ready for it, I don't think. And so eventually I went ahead and I did 100% raw, and I've been doing that for 5 years. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it's very inspiring. So just for the audience to know, how young are you? Because you're looking radiant.
Thank you. I'm going to be 51 in a couple of in a few weeks, actually, in about 5 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
51.
Wow. And I think you look like 10 years, 15 years younger. And I think that's what's something very, very inspiring as well. Would you say it's the diet that helps you, stay like this?
I think the diet helps, but I think genetics play a big part too. I don't think you could say it's just the food. I think a lot of things go into how well you take care of yourself in general. If you get good sleep, if you drink enough water, if you have low stress, if you are a happy person, if you're miserable, you're just gonna age more. I think many things go into staying youthful. I think exercise is huge. Keep moving your body, having a good attitude, having just do the best you can. I think the food definitely has helped me a lot because I don't eat anything processed. Obviously, I don't drink alcohol. I don't eat bread, pasta, refined sugar. So that definitely helps. But there's other aspects I think that are also important to mention about aging. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do agree with you that, it's not just the food, but food can definitely help you with like looking better because your skin heals and your hair becomes better. So what are the things that you healed with the diet? I was watching your interview on like how you tried different kinds of diet, and then not the interview, but the video, even the last video I watched, I watched like a lot of your videos, and I love it because you're like so honest and you just like come direct and you will not like hide things. I remember the one with the stop the detox as well, where you were so concerned about like people doing so many detoxes. So what are the diseases that you have healed through the diet? What was it that got you into it? And I know, I saw that you tried Atkins keto diet and then you were sharing about it, but yeah.
So I tried every lifestyle, I think every diet there was back in the day. I think I tried everything. I was just kind of looking for a way to feel better. I was just one of those people that was always fatigued, that needed a lot of coffee, that needed a lot of sugar, that had bad breath. I smelled bad. I needed deodorant. I didn't have good skin. I was always breaking out. I had brittle nails. It was just the things that people sort of live with, and they don't think that there's anything abnormal about that. It's just the norm. But to me, I was like, I don't think this is right. And then when I got in my 40s, probably around 43, 44, around 45, I started having really bad hormonal issues. I started having periods that lasted a long, long time, a very, very heavy flow. And I remember my friend was a nurse at the time. She's like, if you were under my care, I would give you a blood transfusion. You've lost that much blood. I went to the doctor. They just didn't know what to do. They wanted to give me hormones. They wanted to scrape my uterus out. They even said we might have to just get rid of the uterus. They had like, what the heck? So I had a lot of issues. That there was nothing major, like some people have cancer, some people have, something more catastrophic. Mine wasn't terribly catastrophic. It was just an accumulation of many things that didn't seem right. And then, of course, the hormonal issues, that was just what kind of pushed me over the edge to think, okay, there's something that I need to change here. This isn't normal what I'm going through. So I had many little health issues that just became big all put together, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It was the same with me. There was nothing that was like strikingly coming out, but like just inflammation here and there, gums are not feeling good, pimples are coming. Sometimes the periods are like, a little bit here and there late. So I actually wanted to ask you, since, I love to ask the women guests on the show, that how was your periods changed? How was did you feel a change in the flow? Some people lose their periods. How was it for you?
So yeah, for me, it was like that. And that was one thing that I was concerned about, because I went from heavy flow to where I was just almost like I couldn't leave the house. I went from that to started slowing down. I got to the point where I was having 2-3 days of very light period, and it was just wonderful. And then it stopped, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm too young, I can't be going through menopause. So it stopped for a while, and I was concerned, but I just kind of thought, well, let me just play it out, let's see what happens. I didn't want to give up at that point. I understood that up to 50% of people that go raw lose their periods. The goal is to obviously regain it. If you're under eating, if you're not eating enough, if you are not eating the proper nutrition that you need, then you might never get it again. But I just knew that there might be some adjustment period, and I just had to go through it. And eventually I did get my period back, and it was fine. And then I just went through menopause. So I don't have my period anymore. So for a while there, it stopped, then it came back, and it was nice and gentle and no cramps. I never did suffer from cramps again. I never did suffer from PMS again, which was something that I had. Terrible PMS, terrible moods. So definitely, and then it's been a journey in that aspect of my life for sure. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah. But could you check, because some people, they would lose the period, but they would keep ovulating. So for me, actually, everything became regular. I had PCOD, I think, like very mild version. And the only, symptom I would have is like pimples. There was nothing wrong. Like sometimes the periods would be like that once in like a year, 8 days before or 8 days later. Otherwise, it was regular. And when I changed my diet, I think my flow has reduced, but like spot on, I think my PCOD is gone because I have no symptoms. My skin is better than ever. And my periods are like super regular. I've been like tracking them 1.5 years now, because I was also like, I wanted to make sure it's good. So were you ovulating at that time, or were you?
Yeah, I was ovulating, and that's the reason why I knew it was going to be okay. But I do want to caution women, because I do talk to a lot of women that lose their periods, and they go through some changes. They're way too young to go through those changes. And it is important to not be so dogmatic that you think that you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. If your body's showing signs, if you're on the raw vegan diet and your body's showing some signs that things might be amiss, then it's a good idea to always check those things out and not be so blinded by, oh, I'm on a raw vegan diet, everything's going to be okay, because it might not be. You might need to get your blood work done. And I talk about this in my video, so I don't want people to get the wrong idea that all you do is just eat raw food and everything goes away. Sometimes it doesn't, and most of the times it does, but it's good to be smart about things too. Sometimes you need to have things checked out for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It should not be a blind thing. Okay, I'm eating raw vegan, now I'm superhuman. And I really appreciate it in your videos that you always suggest this, that just don't oh, it's nature, I'm gonna be fine. No, if you need help, like I always went with a health coach. My friend, if it was not there, I wouldn't do it. Like I needed somebody to make sure that my body's fine. And I think that is very, very important for people not to have just this blind faith.
So,
yeah. And there's so many, I also see in your videos that you're always emphasizing on other aspects of life, like spirituality, self-love, and just life is just not about food, which becomes a thing, especially, if you're a creator, or, if you're a chef or something, or just if you found something that makes your life awesome, and then all you're thinking about is food. You were mentioning about how your mood was also really good because of the diet during the periods, the cramps were gone. So my viewers also wanted to know about the mood effects and the mental effects that the diet can have. So could you share about the experience that you had on the diet?
Well, I used to be a very angry person. I will say that I used to, and I'm not perfect by any means. I lost my temper yesterday pretty bad. So I'm not trying to say here that I'm like some saint walking on water, because I am far, far from it. But I did notice a big change in attitude. My overall outlook on life certainly did change. When I first went raw, I have to say, the most important, one of the best aspects was that the brain fog lifted. I was able to think more clearly, and that enabled me to not react so much. I don't know if it's connected, but I certainly think that there's certainly something there. I do remember feeling just happier overall, a better outlook on life, more optimistic, more joyful, definitely more upbeat, just happier overall, more carefree. And I do think it was certainly the diet had a lot to do with it. There's something really magical that happens when you stop polluting your body in a way. I was polluting my body. I was putting in my body all kinds of numbing foods and drinks and chemicals, and I think that numbs you to a certain extent, and you are like your computer chip, it gets dimmed, and your light gets dimmed. And these things, when you stop doing that and you start eating food as nature intended, I think some kind of an awakening happens, that you become, I don't want to say more spiritual, because that's different for everyone, but you certainly become more aware, and definitely more joyful, and definitely happier overall. Yes.
Yeah. Certainly. I also experienced like a big change in my mood, and I think that was one of the factors that has been motivating me. Like I was working on my anxiety for a long time, and it was really good even before, I started the diet. But now, like, I would say my mental focus is so good. There is nothing like mental illness that even like a slight bit would exist. And I was always like a very, very cautious about my mental health. And always working towards, because if you're living in a city in a stressful environment, you have to put in so much conscious effort to be happy and make sure that you're feeling good. But with the diet, it's automatic. There's this presence, my spiritual activity, everything, my energy is so much more. I do still go through cleanses because I'm still very early on the journey. It's been 2+ years that I've been high raw vegan, and then probably 9 months, consistently without any salt, any sugar, nothing processed, just like mostly, fruits and nuts and, a little bit of greens here and there. So I'm still like going through the, refining process, tuning in with my body. Yeah. So,
that's wonderful.
yeah. So with the mood that you're talking about, I'm curious because you're making such great videos. What is it that made you start your channel? For me, I was on a cleanse. I was on a juice fast cleanse, and then when I started my channel. So how did you get into starting your videos?
I never thought I could do anything like this. I thought, first of all, it's negative self-talk. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not eloquent enough. I don't have enough experience. All the reasons why I shouldn't do it. But at the same time, when I went raw, fully raw, not just high raw, fully raw, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. I was like, people, there's a solution. Like, there is a way, there is something, there's a miracle that is happening. And I wanted to share that. I certainly did not know what I was doing, and not that I do now, I'm not saying, but I was just really raw in that sense. I just wanted to share. I was like, this is great. People need to know about this, and people need to know that you're never too old. You're never too far gone. You're at least try it and see what it can do for you. Is it a cure all? And sometimes it isn't. But yeah, I think it's important to know that things can change, we have so much power to do that we give our power away to the doctors, to the people that know better, to people more educated, and they tell, we give our power away. And that I was just like, we can do this on our own. This is almost comically easy what we can do as far as taking care of ourselves. So I was just excited to share more than anything.
Yeah. And would you, since just like sharing the creator parts to the people, for me it became really easy to like go out and speak out in the world, and I'm sure it had to do with the diet. Would you also say that you're saying that you just wanted to shout out to the world, so the energy was also coming from the food, right? Like it gives you strength and confidence. Yeah,
I think so. I think maybe it gives you confidence because you feel so good, because you feel so alert, because you feel so awake, because you don't need coffee, because you don't need, you're not fatigued all the time, because you're not aching, because you just feel good. And so when you feel good, you want to do more. You're more outgoing. You're just, not that your personality will change, because mine, I don't think it has changed that much, but you certainly do. Yeah, you want to share. I think that's a big part of it. Yes.
Yeah. I think you have more biophotons also, and then that kind of helps you connect with people, and that's where the sharing part comes as well. So
I like that.
This is what I learned from John Rose. He's talking about like how biophotons is there, and then you feel connect because of the sun energy, and then you're like more connected with your environment and the people, and then it's like you want to help people. Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense, because a lot of us do want to help people. I mean, when I first went high raw, I was like, well, I can help other people do this. This is amazing. I just can't even. It all clicked. I found my path. When this happened, I was like, I can help people. I can show other people how to do it. It just completely changed my life, really.
Yeah. And did you have some detoxes also on the way, which were difficult, and how did you deal with them?
I did. I had terrible detox, terrible. The reason for that was because I was so addicted to sugar. And when you pull the sugar out of your diet, you're just going to fall apart. And that's what happened to me. I was really addicted to refined carbohydrates. So anything that was cookie, pasta, all the breads, but especially brownies, cakes, pies, cookie, cakes, anything that was dessert, that was me. I was really big on it and really addicted. And so when I stopped that overnight, it was really, really, really hard. I felt shaky. I felt like a drug addict. I felt like I was just done. I couldn't even barely walk some days in the mornings, especially. I was just like, I really fell apart for a few days there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, and then you had the strength to keep going on. Was it in the Hippocrates Institute that this happened?
Yeah.
I heard your story. Okay. And I think was it easier because there were people around to coach you and help you and be like, yeah, we know what's happening.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have thought I was dying, because I thought I was dying. I thought that something was really, really terrible. So yeah, they were like, yeah, you're fine. I was like, no, check my blood pressure again. I'm fainting. I had a few fainting spells before. My blood pressure used to drop really, really low. I used to have, I remember one time I was walking my dog and I had to sit down. It all went black and I fainted. I don't know what happened. I was on the ground. And so some of the things were happening for sure. So when I started detoxing, I thought it was coming back, but the people at Hippocrates, they're like, no, we know what's happening. You're absolutely fine. You're just detoxing. And I haven't had that happen again. My blood pressure is perfect now. But that just goes to show, the doctor would tell me, well, some people have naturally low blood pressure, which is true, but no one should be fainting like I did. So they just kind of, maybe take some pills for that or whatever. So yeah, it all went away. So
yeah, amazing. So were you on some medication as well before this?
No, thank goodness.
Yeah,
I was just getting ready to. I was in my 40s and I was just like, I just knew that I wasn't going to do that, because that would be the end of the beginning of the end. I felt like, no, that's not the way to go, for sure. I knew that. So I didn't take medications. No.
And probably since you had this like strong, where did it come from, this idea that you don't want to be on medication? Because I would see mostly, like in India, it's a little bit different because we are, rooted with plant medicines and, just Ayurveda and everything. So we are also aware of this fact that, medicines are drugs, basically. And they just maintain your problem, they don't heal you. So where this like thought process where did the thought process come from for you? Like, how did you?
Prior to this, I had been looking for a way. I had been looking for a way to be healthier. So I had been vegan, I had been vegetarian, and alongside I had been reading books. I had been reading books about organic eating, about less chemicals in your life, about cleaning products, about toxic mattresses. Like it's all a world that you sort of find when you get interested in bettering your health. So I just kind of knew that drugs and surgeries were not going to be my way, because I had a little bit of an awareness of natural health, if you will. So that's where it came from. Just I had been reading prior to that and kind of looking into natural ways of healing.
Amazing. And what was your family's reaction? How is the societal reaction? How are you dealing with it?
Well, I live in the United States and my family are in Spain. So that's my immediate family. So here I only have my husband and my children. And so my husband was like, okay, you do whatever you want, but I don't want to be involved in that. And I was like, cool, that's fine. I'll make your food, because I'm a traditional housewife in many ways. I make my husband his dinner every night. That's something that I enjoy doing. I love cooking for my family. So I can't say I love. Some days I don't love it. For the most part, I enjoy making food for them. And so he's like, you can do what you want, but I don't want any part of it. I was like, cool, don't worry. I'll still make your food. I'll just make different food for me. So he was supportive. He was a little bit wary and he wasn't exactly thrilled, because food is something that unites people. When you go out to eat and you share something, or you try each other's dish, or you go to a restaurant, and that was taken away from us as a couple. We had to navigate there for a while. I had to tread lightly, because that's a big part of a relation, not a big part, but that's an important part of a relationship when you go out to eat with your partner and all that. So I had to navigate it carefully so that I wouldn't alienate him or make him feel like I was pushing something on him, or make him feel that I was doing something so radical that he had no part in it. So it was definitely some moments there where I had to be careful, because I've been married for 22 years and I wanted to stay married. I think some people take this lifestyle so far that they end up breaking up with their loved ones. They end up breaking up with family members, and it's like, that is just not the way to go. There's a way to figure it out. It just took a little time to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is your family vegan, or do you cook meat for them?
I never cook meat for them. I never cook meat in the house. That's something that I haven't done in many, many years. But they will, they eat eggs, and they eat some cheese sometimes. And that's cool, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody can do their thing. I was once a meat eater too. So everybody has their own way and path. I'm not into pushing my lifestyle on anyone. I lead by example, and they do eat more. My daughter just now made herself a smoothie. She came home from school. She made herself a smoothie. So they learn, you know, they know. Sometimes my daughter went away, the other one, for a long weekend, and came back, and she's like, Mom, I never ate any salad or fruit. I feel so sick. So they'll find their way, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're leading by example rather than forcing. And I think that's the best way to lead. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm not into
do
pushing
they see? Yeah. Yeah. I think it will be a lot of resistance if you push it, and it will be like opposite, right? So yeah. So do this? Yeah, you're saying they see it, that how your health has improved so much because you changed your diet. So they're kind of like in a positive side. Is your husband like that as well?
Well, my daughters can't remember me not being raw, because they were little when I started. So they can't remember me not eating this way. They sort of like, it's something that it's always been. Once in a while they say, oh, I remember you ate that one time, but like they barely remember it. My husband just is like, well, if you're happy, I'm happy. You know,
Awesome.
He can see that I'm happy, so he's happy. He's cool. He's fine with whatever I'm doing. Yeah.
I think that's pretty important. Like, you know, harmony in the family, that they can help you with your choices as well, since you're also, you know, so open with their choices too. I think this is something that's very, very difficult for people to get through, especially if they're in India. The setup is so different. Like if you're living with your parents, and even if you're 26, you can't make your own decisions. You have to, like, your parents have a big, you know, part in your life. But that's a different tradition, and I respect, you know, it's okay. So okay, so since you were mentioning about like how you were a housewife, do you do something other than like the YouTube creation and helping people with food? And what are you coaching? Are you coaching people? What is it that you're doing? I've seen that you became a certified practitioner for the diet, but you still from Hippocrates Institute, but you still say on your channel that these are not medical advices, and you're not a doctor, and you're just like helping people with consultation if they're willing to change their diet. So I would love to know what is your occupation and what you're doing with this coaching as well.
So, but my husband has always been self-employed. He has his own company. And back in the day, I had my own company too. I used to help people quit smoking. I had a clinic back in Florida where I help people quit smoking. But then when my children were born, I wanted to stay home with them. I wanted to breastfeed. I just wanted to be with my baby. So I stopped working, and I just stayed at home for a while. And then when my girls grew up, I wanted to homeschool them. So I was just a busy mom homeschooling, and just that's what I did. And I was actually very busy. And then when I went to Hippocrates is when I realized, you know what, this is worth sharing. This is worth helping people with. This lifestyle is amazing. So I went to Hippocrates and I did their health educator program. And at that point, I had already been coaching people on how to stop smoking. And so my background was always helping people. You know, I can help you with that. So I became a certified coach, and I started coaching. Very little, just on this side, because my girls were still little. But then a few years ago, when they were a little older, I decided I'm going to start the channel and I'm going to coach. I have more time now. I'm going to coach a little bit more. And so I started doing that. And then we decided to travel for a whole year. So we sold our home and our cars and everything, and we bought an RV, and we traveled for a year. So I did not work. I did not coach anyone there. Actually, I had one client that I coached throughout the whole entire trip. She and I used to speak once a week, and but I did not take any other appointments because it was too hectic, and we were all over the place. But with that particular client, I continued coaching. And then we settled to where we are now in California. And so I started again. And so it's been really good since then. I've been pretty busy, and I've been enjoying it a lot. And then my kids are a little bit more grown, so I'm dedicating more time and I'm putting more effort into my videos. And so I'm doing that, and I'm still homeschooling the little one. She's not little anymore. She's 14, but she'll start school next year. And so yeah, I'm pretty busy doing that now.
Wow, you're homeschooling. I think that's really appreciable. Because I really don't believe in school systems so much. And when the children are young, it's so important also to have that, motherly care, which you opted for. I think that's very, very important. People sometimes think that, they can have children and then they can just give them away because they want to go with their career. But the most amazing career is taking care of your children. And probably if I have children, I'll probably do it the same way, like just be there for them, So that's very inspiring. And so what kind of coaching do you provide? Do you specialize? What is it like for health, for transitioning into raw food? What is it that you
both? A lot of the people that call me, they don't necessarily want to go 100% raw, but they know that the way forward is a plant-based, a sort of lifestyle. So I'm not stuck onto one way of, they have to be this or they have to be the other. I'm more interested in finding what works for them. For some people, I coach a lot of people in Europe. They live in northern climates. It's cold. And so I'm not going to tell them to eat mangoes and papayas. I'm more interested in finding what's going to work for them and what's doable with the quality of the stuff that they can find. And so some of them want to lose weight. Some of them want to a lot of people these days, unfortunately, have digestive issues. And so the important thing is to find what works for you. So I meet the person where they're at, and we try and figure out a way to get them where they want to go.
Awesome. And then since you were mentioning about like how you read so many books on the, to help yourself heal as well, could you suggest a few books for our viewers that they could like look up to, and also some of the inspiring personalities, probably if you have, that have inspired you in the journey? Our viewers could just have a look at them.
Oh, there's just so many books. Where to even start? I have a video actually where I share some of the books that I've enjoyed in the last maybe 2-3 years. I try to read anything and everything that I can. The classics, you want to look at the classics. You want to look at different and opposing views also on raw veganism. Anything from Brian Clement to you want to Dr. Morse maybe, or you want to just keep your mind open. And I enjoy books. I don't agree with everything that I'm reading, perhaps, and maybe some of the advice I've already tried for myself and it didn't work, but that doesn't mean I can't learn something. So I love Dr. Fred Vichy. I love, like I said, Dr. Brian Clement. I love Dr. Gabriel Cousens. I love just so many different people, and Wigmore, the founder of Hippocrates. But I also enjoy reading the 80-10-10 book, and I also enjoy reading, from the other side where they emphasize more fruit. I think they all have something valuable to offer. It's just a matter of finding what works for you.
Yeah. I watched this thing a lot of times on your video where you talked about how you don't say that this is the definite thing, but it keeps moving according to your how your body is changing, and then you have to listen to it, and then it's like there is no clear cut answer because every body is different. So how would you suggest people? This is one of the questions that one of my subscribers also wanted to ask, is how do you get into that intuitive part of the body? To be able to listen. How can you fasten or just like become more aware of intuitive health and intuitive eating?
Well, that doesn't happen overnight. That takes a little time to develop because you have to clean your body first. And once you do that, once you're clean, your gut's running well, and you're actually, on a pretty decent sort of diet, you can't help but become in tune with your body, because you know that you wake up one morning and you look puffy, you look tired, you didn't sleep well. It's because you ate a bunch of maybe fat the night before, or you ate something that didn't agree with you, and you can tell. Where if you had a nice beautiful dinner salad and you had your the good food that it's good, you wake up in the morning and you spring out of bed. So you sort of come to eventually, as you clean yourself more and more, and as you refine your senses, your sense of taste, your sense of hearing, your sense of smell, it gets better, I believe, except for my eyes. My eyesight has not gotten better, but it hasn't gotten worse, so that's good. But I do believe that sense comes in time. You can't put a timeline. I've been raw for a year, or I've been eating clean. It doesn't have to be raw, but I've been eating clean for a year. I should be able to be more in tune. It'll happen eventually. When you will notice when you're clean, how much easier you can tell, how much more in tune you can be with your body.
Yes. Yeah, I do agree. It's like just the cleanliness, probably, I would say, is something that kind of, makes you in tune, and also just refining, because you're eating such less, mixed up things. It can't, what is it that you changed?
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that's not working, and your body also kind of like speaks for you. So awesome. Thank you. All right. So what was the question? 1 second. It's just like I was just answering and then it flew away. Okay. Yes, about the eyesight. So you mentioned about the eyesight, that for me, actually, with the I was like really consistent on eye exercises for 1 month, and my eyesight also became better with the diet. So yeah, I think it's also a little bit about like genetics with people, and where you are in your journey and so many other things. But there's definitely a possibility of healing eyes as well. But I think it works different for different people, because some people have just a little bit of weaker sight to some part, but that doesn't mean, as you said, that one part of the body cannot heal. That doesn't mean that the others would not heal. There is so much that you can change in your diet. So since you were also mentioning about how the practices, self-care and exercise is important as well, sleep and everything, I would love to know about like what are the exercises that you follow in your routine to stay healthy?
So right now I'm doing I have always exercised. That is something that I have always done. Something in me has always wanted to keep moving. And so when in my 20s, I swam a lot. And in my 30s, I started going more to the gym to try and make my exercise more compacted and more quicker to achieve. Just by going to the gym, you're in, you're out, you do it, and you don't have to. So in my 30s, I started working out and I started lifting weights. And then I had children, but I still always did yoga or I just run or I walked. I did a half marathon, which is not a lot, I know, but for me, that was a lot because I never did run in my life. So I started running. So I've always found something to do and I've always done it. But about maybe, I want to say about I started in September. I thought, you know what? I started noticing that my muscles are just not where they used to be. Like I am obviously aging. So I thought, I need to get back into the gym. I need to start lifting weights. It's also great for my bone density, and I'm getting older. I've gone through menopause. Let me just go back. So I went back, even though I had been going, but I'd been rebounding. I've been lifting little silly weights. So now I'm back in the gym and training 4 days a week, and I'm doing a good routine, split body parts, and I'm lifting heavier weights, and I'm not killing myself, but I'm certainly putting some effort into it, and then doing a little cardio. And I've been more disciplined about it, even though I've kind of like, I'm more focused on it now. So that's
Awesome.
what I'm
Awesome.
doing. Yeah.
Great. What about your sleep cycles? How are they working on?
The what? I'm sorry?
Sleep cycles, like how much do
Oh.
you sleep, and do you need, like less sleep, or how, like the importance of it?
Well, I've always been a big sleeper. So I know this maybe runs in my family. So it's my dad's or my brothers, like we are sleepers. And I thought to myself, oh, I'll probably need less sleep. I don't need less sleep, maybe a little less, but I still need 8 hours of sleep. And I do feel that's important for me. I'm very consistent with my bedtime. I try to get my proper rest every night. I wake up really refreshed and really ready to go. But I'm not one of those people that think, oh, I don't need to sleep that much because I'm on a raw diet. I think sleep is very important, and you should listen to your body. Some people only need 6 hours. That's great. It just, when you wake up naturally, you wake up naturally. For me, it's about 8 hours, and I don't do well without my sleep. I enjoy it. I just go to bed early and I wake up early. And I think it's very important. I don't want people to think you're on a raw diet and it's a panacea. Everything else is, you don't have to worry about anything else. No, I think it's part of a healthy lifestyle to make sure that you're getting the rest that you need to repair, to recharge, to rejuvenate. Your body goes into dialysis when you're sleeping. You need your REM sleep. So I wear an eye mask, I wear earplugs. I'm like a sleep person. I have a latex mattress. I have my sheets are very good. Like, I'm one of those people. I'm a sleep snob.
Wow. Yeah, I'm on point, man. I also feel that it's important to sleep well, and not think that you would need less sleep. Probably in the beginning you might even need more sleep because you're healing. So but did your sleep improve as well when you
I have to say yes. I have to say I sleep very deeply now, and I don't know that I did back then. I can't even remember. I remember always waking up really groggy. Really took me a while to get going in the morning, and I woke up tired. So I don't know that my sleep was that restorative back then. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I do know now that I wake up and I'm fully recharged for sure.
Okay, awesome. That's pretty good. All right. So any last messages? Oh, okay, just one more question that I would like to ask also, because you're using Enemas as well. And, I remember you saying, hey, kids, don't do too much detox. You need to rebuild as well. So what would you say? Like, what are the other cleansing, mechanisms that people need to use? Or what would you say they should use Enemas? Or it's like, okay, up to your own body? What is your take on it?
Well, I did a heck of a lot of enemas and the colonics at the beginning, and I thought those were fantastic to get rid of a lot of the debris that was in my colon for many years of eating meat and dairy and processed food and flour, and it gets impacted in there. And when I had my quit smoking clinic, I was in the same building as a colonic therapist, and I learned a lot from this lady. She was an older woman. She kind of took me under her wing, and I learned a lot about detoxing the bowels. And so I believe in doing that, because you could be eating the best diet in the world, but you really have to get it cleansed out before. And as a maintenance, there's a lot of things in our diet that we're inadvertently eating. Sometimes we eat non-organic food, or we might drink tap water at a restaurant, and all those things, they accumulate. So once in a while, it's good to have a colonic done. I haven't gone in 2 years because of the pandemic and those kind of places were closed, but I have done enemas, and I do continue to do enemas. Sometimes I overdo something, like I go to a raw food restaurant and I'm like, oh, and I'm slow for a couple of days. I'm just gonna do an enema real quick. I like to do them as a maintenance. I might do maybe, I used to do them every week, then I went to every 2 weeks, and now it's maybe every 3 weeks or so. It's just whenever I feel it, that maybe I just need a little cleaning, a little rinsing over there. I believe that they're very, very helpful. I also think that they're not to be overdone, and some people get too attached to them, and they use them as a substitute for having good digestion. That's not good either. So it's good to keep those in mind. As far as detoxing, they're super helpful. Yeah.
It's I remember you suggesting that since we live in this society, which is, we're kind of being polluted, and so we need a little bit of artificial measures to clean ourselves on the diet as well. So have you done juice fasts as well? Or any other kind of cleanses?
I didn't go crazy with them. I've done, the most I've ever done is a 3-day water fast, and that was really hard for me. So I know I'm due to do at some point a good water fast of at least 7 days. I know. But I am not a person, I felt so depleted after those 3 days on water. So I instead decided to do an extended juice fast, and I did a juice fast for 25 days. And I've done many small juice fasts of 7 to 10 days, but the one that was longest was 25 days. And I just did it until I felt like I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like taking it one day at a time. And then when I got to the 25th day, I could have kept going, but at the same time, I was like, no, I'm ready to call it a day. So I think those are really important. I've done a lot of cleansing in general because my diet was so atrocious growing up in Spain with all the meat and all the stuff that I ate. So I also did a lot of colon cleansing with there's a product in the United States that's no longer available. It used to be called Blessed Herbs, and I did that. It was a psyllium husk that you drink for 7 days with apple juice, and for 7 days you keep drinking these packets, and it takes out your mucoid plaque, and it worked really, really well. I did that twice. I've done a lot of parasite cleanses. I've done them probably 2-3 times. I'm about to start one. So I'm not against detoxing, but I am against taking it to the extreme where people get so obsessed with it that there is like an obsession. So I am not saying don't do maintenance, because it's important, but at the same time, don't get carried away with the water fasting, that this, It's like some people, they fast, but they never rebuild. And it's like, it's good to go fast and then rebuild, not just always on the continual cycle of detoxing. I don't think that's healthy either. There's a lot of nut jobs in this lifestyle, and I hate to speak ill of anyone because I don't like doing it, but there are a lot of extremists, and people listen, people follow these extremists, and it's important to be careful and to take things, into consideration. How old you are, what is your current state of health, how much do you weigh, don't just follow blindly, because things, you need to just be wise about it and listen to your own body.
Yeah, certainly. I agree with you. It's very important to be not go too far, because now I'm gonna do the detox, and then it can be difficult. It can take you to places where you don't want to be. It can be too hard, and then it can be too hard for the body, mind, and everything as well. So
well, it's not a race too.
Probably we'll close on this.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it's not a race unless you're catastrophically ill, and in it is a little bit time is of the essence. Unless you're sick and something's like some people with cancer. Okay, I understand they have a focus, but it's not a race. You can take it and take it over time. You don't have to be so intense about it. Just slow the detox down a little bit, and I think it'll be more enjoyable and more you'll stick to it better.
Yeah, I agree. You will stick to it better if you take it slow, and then nature doesn't rush at all. So it's important to just go with the slow pace, and then it can just be so much more enjoyable as well as rewarding too.
Yeah.
So okay, I just feel like asking one more question before we close. So yeah, what are your spiritual, benefits that you've gotten, and then the self-care part of it, how do you feel? What do you do, as well as what are the results that you've received through the diet?
You mean spiritually? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, that's a hard question, because you don't want to attribute something to like your spirituality to a diet, but I certainly think that it's so cleansing that you're more open, your heart's more open, you're better able to receive. And I don't want to sound woo-woo, because there's so many different interpretations, but I have become more spiritual. I have become more connected. But I don't know if that was just my own personal evolution, and I was going to get here with the diet or without the diet. I don't know that. God works in many ways, in many mysterious ways. It might have been the diet that brought me to him, or it might have been something else. I don't know that. So, but definitely that's been something that's been that's happened in my life for sure in these last few years. More connection to source.
And what are the self-care practices that you take? It could be spiritual, or it could just be like mental, psychological, anything.
Self-care practices, spiritual. Well, I journal every day for sure. That's very important. I journal about the things I'm grateful for, and I also journal my prayer. I write it down. So what I'm praying for, I write it down too. And my daughter is very involved with a church, a Christian church near where we live. So I go there sometimes. I'm not there every weekend, but I love the feeling there. I love the vibe there. I love the singing. They're more like a less traditional church. There's a very young church. So I go there and I enjoy it immensely. I wouldn't describe myself as a Christian, but I certainly describe myself as God loving. So I enjoy going there. Like I would probably enjoy going to another church that wasn't Christian. So, but I do believe in the words of Jesus, without getting too crazy here. I do believe there's certainly a lot of goodness and wisdom there. So that's something that I'm just open, I'm open to receiving. And when I go to this church and I hear the words, it moves me when they talk about Jesus, it moves me, but it also moves me when I hear other things too. So that my spiritual practice really basically is my journaling and my prayer.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Any last message that you would like to give to the viewers?
Well, my one message really is to not get too dogmatic, to don't get stuck into, which I did this at the beginning, on a certain way, and it has to be this way. It's important to try things and see how it works. And if some things need to be changed, it's okay. You're not a loser. You're not a quitter. It's important to remain flexible and open, because your needs might change. You will age, you will grow, you will lose weight, you will gain weight. I don't know what's going to happen. You might have a lot of stress. It's important to stay open to different things. So that's my advice. Don't get too crazy, because there's a lot of people that they're too rigid. And I think that they're missing the point. They're coming from a place of fear too. That's so bad. That cooked food is bad. Cooked this is bad. And I think that really limits you to what's possible with the diet, because the diet is not about fear. It's not about limiting anything. It's an abundant diet. But if you are literally looking at some foods as if they're poison, I think that is not helping you it's just not good. It's just better to say, I choose to eat this, but everybody else can eat what they want. Also, the angry vegans, I don't get that. And I was probably one of them too. I was very, very looking down at people. I'm better than you because I don't eat meat. That does not help your growth in any way. So that's just my idea. I don't know. I could be very wrong, but I think it's important to come from your heart and to just be joyful about the whole thing. Not, I don't think you have everything figured out, because we don't. We're practicing like everyone else. We're just trying to do our best.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I completely agree. We need to stay open. We need to be more compassionate. And, you know, compassion towards animals comes with compassion towards other beings, your fellow beings as well. So being open and being compassionate is so, so important, and not just like being over obsessed with the diet, you know, just take it easy. Yeah, it's a part of life. It's not your life entirely. So yeah, thank you. And that's a great message to have. Thank you so much for sharing everything. I felt so comfortable talking to you. It felt like really home. And thank you for providing me that vibration. And I'm sure the audience also felt that with you, that you create this like really honest, and like you're not hiding things. You're so straightforward with your ideas, not painting a picture which is just like colorful without any, you know, problems in it. So thank you so much for being you, for sharing all the information. Where is it that people can find you? What are the places that you would like people to go to?
So my YouTube channel has all my links to my website. If anybody wants coaching or anything like that, just go on my YouTube channel, Eva Loves Raw, and everything is there. So that's all they have to do. Yeah.
Awesome. I will link down all your links below so that they can reach out to you. And thank you so much once again.
Thank
Lots
you.
of love. Yeah.
Thank you, Kartika.